Good afternoon. Welcome to Philadelphia. My name is Mark Young. I am the program coordinator for our Jewish Experiential Leadership Institute Alumni Retreat, our JELI Fellows that were with us from March of 2012 to May 2013 are reuniting in the city of brotherly love to learn more about leadership through a Jewish lens and specifically about the narrative of being a Jew and of being American here in the United States and Canada, and what does that mean for us as JCC professionals? It's going to be an exciting 4 days, and we're going to get started shortly.
And on the Jelly Ball, there are different questions or statements which will direct you to answer in the way that you see fit. So we're gonna throw the ball around to each other. Wherever your right thumb touches, whatever question it touches.
Thing I am looking forward to in 2015.
I did these at 11 o'clock.
I'm just living in the mess.
There's so many things you can't choose.
Hopefully, starting to build at my site. That would be great. Starting to build. Anybody?
Random.
I don't know if it's actual Torah or if it's Midrash, if it's a story or commentary on the Torah that Joseph was the favorite son of Jacob, in part because Joseph was born from Rachel, who was maybe the favored wife, the wife that Jacob always wanted, and not Leah as much. Leah had 10 of the sons, and Rachel had 2 of the sons, Joseph and Benjamin. And Joseph basically goes on this really big high. I have this coat. This coat is awesome. I'm going to show it up to my brothers. Some commentaries say that he was boastful about it. That's a good debate. And then he has this huge low. His brothers kind of turn against him, throw him in a pit, and now he's in essentially in a dungeon in Egypt.
Winds of jelly blow for anyone whose position is now different since jelly at their work.
Since it started or since it finished?
Since they started. We'll go with started.
The curriculum that you folks did, this pilot group that you all switched seats about, and we realized that even though we didn't quite articulate it with you folks, that there were 4 themes. So we distilled out those themes, we wrote them up, and when we got to the new cohort, we said, JELI has 4 themes, because you learned the 4 themes. So all of the reflection is going to be based around these 4 themes. The centrality of your Jewish lens.
Teacher group and humming the theme from Rocky.
Is equally, if not more important, and their job doesn't define who they are.
Right.
It's their job.
Yeah.
And it's what they do, it's not who they are. And I think for a lot of us, everyone knows what our job is.
What we are.
Yeah. And particularly the work that we do.
Yeah. Right.
How our see it. I mean, I used to talk about things and all, and whenever we're talking about the GCC, and like so dumb, and I was like, why does no one ever talk to me about anything else?
Their projects, hers is too. So everybody's projects are still in place, which is really cool to hear.
To address. And then we're going to try and tie it all together to help us understand this thing that we call the American Jewish experience. Okay, so those are the 3 steps. And it will end, the last portion, we will be doing a little bit of text analysis to help us understand how the American experience and how the Jewish experience sort of fit or don't fit together. So that's the roadmap, all right? So, what's the source of authority for the Torah? Right. Not only, and God gives a further justification. It's not just because I say so, but why? I am the Lord your God, who? Okay. So So I am the source of authority. You don't need to go looking anywhere else. And God really isn't asking for any agreement here. We, the not Jewish, if you're from New York, if you're from New York, you're Jewish, even if you're not. If you're from
Besides New York and the JELI and things like that. So today we're actually going to talk a little bit about differences and see how our differences, even though we have differences, also we have things in common as well. So actually 3 tables is good.
All over Europe, Israel, Costa Rica. I went to school in Prague, so I did that area.
Great. Okay, cool. Okay, did anyone have an experience that no one else in the group
More
had?
than the ELI, part of our program, and I'm going to speak a little bit about the leadership as it relates to not this week's parsha, but last week's parsha, which is Vayishlach. So Jacob, who is the third of our forefathers, was a second-born child with a twin, right, Esau, right? And he spent a lot of his, or the Torah tells us a lot about how he tricked Isaac and Esau into, or out of Esau's birthright and into his own sort of possession, right? And then he runs away from home at the behest of his mother, and he spends 20 years outside of, his home.
Very difficult to make it look fresh and new and bright and inviting. And so that is also one of the challenges that we're facing here. I would say that in the last 3 years, we have had some very challenging situations occurring. The change of the executive director was a major upheaval for us here. And we recently just suffered.
So last week was I week, a year from the day. So it was this time of year last year. And Shelley says, look. And this was the little boy who was the Shabbat leader, and they had to bring in, or no, this was for show and tell.
Yeah.
And he brought in, didn't have an igloo or a toy igloo, so he drew a picture of an igloo, and that's what started the entire thing. And the kids started saying, why don't we make an igloo? And so we started.
Nana's set up a cabana and put a refrigerator and a sink and the whole 9 yards out here, and they did food all day and all weekends.
Do you offer a summer-only membership?
We didn't have a problem replacing them. And so the task force said, we're focusing on executive director retirement and replacement. Maybe we really don't have a problem at that level. We were able to either find people from the outside and move them in, or we were able to make internal moves where people left one JCC to move to another, whether it was an executive director in a smaller agency and that person moved up to a larger agency, or it was an assistant exec that moved up to be an executive director. We do it not, you don't have to do it for names. You're going to go up to the wall and put a square one where you think you have a strength. And then the little ones, there should be enough for you to do one.
The idea of moving to a neighborhood JCC that didn't necessarily have a huge connection with the neighborhood, and a whole series of struggles of having a old facility and lack of leadership in terms of lay leadership invested in it because of the centralization of the product, and in turn the struggles that they're continuing to have as they form their own identity and
talked about moving 20 years before that, but finally got enough money and leadership to move us over to this location. And
You built this?
We built this. Or the community built this building. And actually the community as a group, as a whole, really moved from the west side of Cherry Hill to the east side of Cherry Hill. So across the street is a synagogue, a half a mile down is a synagogue, a half a mile down that is another synagogue, and a half a mile down the road is another synagogue. So cleaning it up, to be honest, but we're on our way. But this is where we have a teen after-school program, special needs that's going to be live in a minute.
Yeah,
This is Barb Dylan Schneider.
We have 3 in the other room playing the active zone.
So we're going to walk through the active zone, which is great that it's hooked up as like our teen.
Just don't turn the light on. Patrick does not like the light on.
And we will not turn the light on.
And you could only answer the third question, how is it compared to what it was before, if you do a comparative. But the question is, how are we measuring, how do we know how Jewish an individual is? How do you measure it?
We have a kidney with medical conditions. Our lives are, I mean, to say they're complex is one thing, but to tell the story of what a day is like, just forget it. I'll just tell you how I get to work, because it's just too many things that I'm trying to balance to even hold in my mind at the same time.
Largest in America. And a big reason for the rapid growth of Philadelphia has to do with our founder, William Penn, who was a Quaker, and we'll talk more about the Quakers later on the tour, but briefly, the Quakers believed that everyone in the world is equal. Penn granted religious freedom to everyone here in Pennsylvania. And so people persecuted for their religious beliefs throughout the world, they began to come to Philadelphia in very large numbers. Philadelphia, in fact, grows into the 3rd largest English-speaking city in the entire world in the 18th century. The largest English-speaking recast here in Philadelphia. However, there's a reason why they didn't just make it here in Philadelphia. Again, there's no foundry in the city or even all over the world. It's really capable of manufacturing metal of the size of its time. But in Philadelphia, Johnson Snow tried their best. The first attempt was deemed unsatisfactory. They ordered to melt the bell back down and cast it again. That is the casting you see in front of you today. It is the 3rd casting of the bell, completed in 1753. Apparently, this
legislature vacated this assembly room to make way for Congress. Congress began meeting here in May of 1775. It was not until July of 1776 when the men in this room could actually bring themselves to admit that they had exhausted every other option. Independence from Great Britain was the only option they had left. And we celebrate the long day. Congress declared independence in this room on the 2nd of July, 1776. They voted to adopt a resolution.
To include even more space, I want you to think of one of your grandparents. Just choose. I would choose the one that was born the farthest and stand on that spot. And let's see how.
Historians, professionals within the Jewish community, educators, so we welcome you. Your task over the next 15 minutes is to come up with, as a table, the following things that will help us design the museum. We want you to come up with 5 personalities that best represent American history. 5 places, and that could be either physical locations or categories of places that need to be in the permanent exhibition.
Yeah, you're right.
Making sure that that's the way freedom and all the things.
Like
the
civil rights movement.
Yeah.
And the women's rights, like civil rights.
The side of this house was an immigrant, made good and became a because if we're trying to get around or not as Jews, we want to.
We're not.
Understand, you know,
come tomorrow and commit themselves.
Right.
It's the first question I always ask, I was just asked the Mandel Foundation.
Things maybe I'm gonna be mad, and then Joy, why is this what you created? I wanted this, where this is what I told her to do. And so I think it's just really helpful to sort of see how that plays out. You can get a job done in lots of different.
However, we all keep going and moving forward. How and why? What allows us to get through these trying times? The Jews throughout history have faced adversity over and over again, yet we keep going, forever moving forward through our own strength and God's guidance. I started to think about all of these things in light of the upcoming holiday, Hanukkah, and the symbolism of the Maccabees' victory, as well as the miracle of the oil. The Maccabees' victory is yet another historical example of the Jews' perseverance over struggle.
Really quickly, going back to when I was in JELI, I developed the Jewish core values to be the foundation of our day camps. And it was all about how we implement them into our camps to make them organic and really change the structure of our day camps, which we have done fantastically. When we designed this, we were going to do it slowly. This past year, we decided to jump right into it, and they really have taken over our camps.
What does it mean? What does it look like? And how do we set ourselves up for success?
Just as a prerequisite, this is actually a film about lawyers. So just remove like the lawyer part and put a JCC professional part and just go with it.
The second role would be that as leaders, our role is to ensure setting up a positive, inclusive environment for first impressions, entry points into the community, and engagement. So Alana's going to talk a little bit about her Big Tent Judaism as a first impression and other things later on.
Some of the elements of the conversation that we had over the 3 days to see if we can sort of, as we isolate them, remind ourselves of sort of key elements of this narrative and make sense of it. So I want to go back to the Liberty Bell. We spent some time in the cold and in the rain, taking a look and hearing about it, and we all, were reminded of the verse, proclaim liberty throughout the land unto all its inhabitants. Sing Amen. Do that again. Amen. Amen. May this be our blessing. Amen.
So JELI still really continues to inspire me each and every day in my work. Really what has stuck with me the most is about how we meet people where they're at, how we take people's journeys and bring them into the JCC, meet them where they're at, help them get through what they're trying to figure out about their lives, what they're learning, and what we can do as we stand on our values and mission to make that happen for them. And it's all about creating community, and JELI was really inspiring and really helped put a framework around how to do that in a meaningful way.
Because of JELI, I've really changed the direction of who I am as a professional leader at the JCC. My project was creating values in my camps. Because of JELI, we created these values to be the foundation of our day camps, that we now have created values for our JCC based on the work that we've done in JELI, and we've been able to make a stronger connection to the Jewish peoplehood.
JELI continues to inspire me as it's given me the opportunity to connect with other Jewish professionals in the field, see the work that they're doing, see how that aligns with the work that we're doing at our JCC, and just continue to think outside the box of the type of work that we can do and how to make what we're doing each and every day the best that it can be from multiple different perspectives.
So JELI has inspired my work in a lot of ways and in very personal ways. I have personally grown through my JELI experience in learning that I can be powerful and make decisions and be a purveyor of change. And change is a really important part of the experience of being a young Jewish American, and really seeing that even more through our trip. This go round, I've learned that change is how we are going to grow as a people, and what JELI has brought to my center. So it's been a great experience. Thanks.
Hi, JELI continues to inspire me anytime we have a retreat like this, in that it brings back new ideas and thoughts and inspires me in an excited way to bring back to my JCC the ideas that I've learned and dealt with hands-on. We're dealing with a strategic planning process at my JCC, and I feel that these past few days have allowed me to bring back a lot of new ideas related to partnerships, collaboration, and the community that really excite me as I go back to my job.
So the JELI program continues to inspire my work at my JCC. My project was developing Jewish holiday trainings, teacher trainings for my teaching staff, and this is our third year now of doing it. I have successfully passed it off to other colleagues, and it is an integral part of our after-school program.
Till today, JELI continues to inspire me. When I go back and think of a time I was really proud of myself and how I managed something successfully, a new challenge, I go back to my JELI project and how it was laid out and all the time it took to plan and deliver and then reflect on it. And I think it was a really happy moment for me, my work and professional experience. Being surrounded by all of these amazing colleagues is nurturing.
So JELI has ended 22 months ago, but it never really ended for me. I embraced a culture of learning and continuing to really hone my skills as a leader, but also as a Jewish communal professional. And something that stayed with me is to never be satisfied with just being competent at a certain leadership skill, but to push myself and push those that work with me in order to be really successful and fulfill our potential as professionals.
One way that JELI continues to inspire me is to continue to think beyond the constraints of what's happening within my JCC, to think about all that we've been exposed to and learned about, and all of our conversations, and how that can impact us going forward as an agency. Where else can we be looking? What else can we be doing? How does it tie into who we are as an agency? So JELI continues to kind of sit in the back of my head, all of these conversations, and inspire me to keep moving forward and growing who our JCC is.
Okay, the one way that JELI continues to inspire me in my work is really to think about why we're doing the things we're doing. It's kind of like, we know what we're doing, but I think JELI helps us figure out why we're doing it based on Jewish values, Jewish texts, Jewish conversations, and I think it's also given me a way to use my brain a lot more than just using my fingers at my computer a lot. So I really appreciate the time to get to think and share with other people who are like-minded, and I definitely value it extremely in my work.
I continue to use JELI in my work in that I've made an intentional decision in my organization that not to have a formal Jewish educator on staff. And I did that because I believe that Jewish isn't an item on the menu. Jewish is an ingredient in everything you do. And so I believe through my experience at JELI, I've charged and inspired my staff, each of them, regardless of their job, whether the aquatics director, a camp counselor, the CFO, that they are all Jewish educators and have to be able to hold a real Jewish conversation.
JELI has been an amazing experience for the people that are participating in it, because it gives them the opportunity to learn
things that they wouldn't necessarily learn on the job. Ways of thinking about their jobs and the work that they do through a Jewish lens, as well as collaboration with each other that really helps them build strong bonds and be able to have a network of people that they work off of throughout the year when they're not together. The cohort has just come together in an amazing way, and we're very happy that we have this program.
So the fascinating thing about JELI is that we teach partnership and collaboration through Jewish text and tradition in order to inspire our fellows from so many different JCCs to bring that to their work and to bring that to the movement. And what's fascinating is that we've been able to model that in the partnership of bringing JELI together. I think there's so much the Jewish Theological Seminary and the Davidson School has learned from being able to partner with the JCC Association. And I think that the JCC Association has been able to gain increased value by gaining the wisdom and ideas from the Jewish Theological Seminary. So in teaching partnership, we model partnership, and that's just one great way that JELI's been impactful on the field of Jewish education.
JELI's given me a chance to learn about the exciting things that are happening in the JCC world, to see how exceptional leaders make use of theory and put it into practice, and to work with great colleagues at the JCCs and the JCCA.
When I think about JELI, particularly with this group of alumni that are getting together after a year or 2 years, I'm really struck by two things. One is how much they talk about the way they have used the things that they've learned through JELI in the intervening period. It's clear that there are many things that they learned, that they've internalized, that they are applying in their work, which is wonderful. The other thing that I'm mindful of is when I listen to us talk as the faculty between us, our conversation, which is now going on 3 years since we began the first cohort, is so much richer and more sophisticated because of our practice and our interaction with the JELI Fellows.